our city covered in prayer. It's been felt across our region. And we want to thank God that we had no serious injuries or casualties. Brief updates from the latest. We have CenterPoint is reporting that approximately 217,000 residential homes and properties the power's been restored. We still have approximately 16,000 without power. We've got a number of agencies in the area that are assessing damage to facilities throughout the area. So I appreciate CenterPoint's contribution. Obviously, in the next 24 hours, it's going to be very vital that everyone in the Deer Park area stays off of the road, especially in the areas where we know we've got down power lines, so the CenterPoint crews can have access to that. It's going to be interesting how all that goes, but we are here to support them getting our power restored. Far as debris in the region, our Public Works is working overtime, and we're being supported by a lot of agencies and or local municipalities and assisting us with getting our debris picked up and out of the way, mainly with the focus being so CenterPoint can have access to all the areas that they need to have. We've got TDM here supporting us from the state, and I appreciate their support in helping us do a lot of the assessment. So we've been contacted by most of our federal and state officials, and we appreciate all their support. I appreciate the county and their support in helping us and assisting us. For as the immediate needs, most of our city facilities are closed today, and we'll be assessing later today if we'll be able to open tomorrow. Most of our city facilities are without power. We're still running on generators, so obviously, like I said a minute ago, for the next 24 hours, allowing CenterPoint to do their job. I know they've staged up with approximately 24 crews overnight, and they were bringing in additional resources here approximately around noon. So everything for the next little bit is going to be cleaning up debris and getting CenterPoint the access they need to start repairing the last areas. I know they've restored a lot of the transmission lines, so if you had no damage, a lot of facilities, their power's been restored. We do have an across the board a multi-agency response from DPS to TDM to CenterPoint to National Weather Service to Task Force 1, and I communicated with the governor last night, and I appreciate his call and support to our city. I've been in contact with most of the regional mayors. I know Mayor Pasadena Wagner and Mayor of Baytown, the two other cities I think that have been most impacted, so we're all working closely together to make sure we get our communities restored as quickly as possible. For any aspect of a media request, you can reach out to me at mayor@deerparktx.org. We've also transitioned our city website to be a news outlet, and that's at deerparktx.gov/tornado2023. So any aspect of updates we'll be putting on there, and we're obviously going to be submitting additional press releases later in the day as information becomes available. So obviously it's been a rapid scenario that occurred very rapidly. We're just grateful that we again had no casualties, but that's the latest on where we're at in regards to what is going on currently right now.
What is the biggest challenge you're facing right now? What are you need more of, or you have all kinds of assistance, EMS for the nursing home patients, and all. Just what is
the biggest challenge I think right now immediately is getting power restored, so a lot of facilities can get back up and running, so the services can be provided. I know TDM's already working with us. We've got a QR code on how residents can get resource help to them individually, and we're getting a lot of calls right now. We don't want to set too much up here in Deer Park per se until we get as much of the power restored.
Do you have information on the National Weather Service, or where they're doing their assessment to categorize these particular tornadoes?
We've had some brief conversation with them of assessing on that, yes.
Okay. Mayor?
Yes.
You can look at those cameras when you're answering the question. How are you? How's your family? How are your neighbors?
Well, my family's doing well. I was obviously at home yesterday afternoon early, so my immediate family's doing very well. The neighbors, everybody I've communicated with, obviously is doing as best they can. Fortunately for me, I have a generator, so I had power last night. But there is a lot of people that went without power, and after so many hours, it becomes very disruptive to the quality of life most of us enjoy. So again, going back to the question, power, getting that restored as quickly as possible. But I think overall, you know, most residents in Deer Park are very blessed that no one got hurt. So getting power restored and assessing facility damage, and obviously insurance, and getting volunteers in, because we're talking with Tatum in regards to getting people in that help and need assistance for debris, because there's a lot of trees and stuff like that are down, fences. All of that needs to be moved out to the road, so the city crews over the next few days can pick that up. So any aspect of what residents, whether they get assistance or them directly, if you just remove the debris to the street, we'll be getting that picked up in the next few days as quickly as possible. But a lot of the information we're going to be pushing out to for is where residents can reach out to. We're having a lot of people that want to bring resources in. We're not currently set up for that in Deer Park right now because power is such a major issue.
What are you directing your citizens of Deer Park to, you know, as far as the Red Cross shelters and distribution, supply distribution, and things of that sort? What are you?
Well, I know there was a shelter that was open yesterday in Pasadena, and it was inundated very rapidly. So in some aspect, the challenge is you can't necessarily bring a Red Cross here into the middle of the impact area. So staging that outside of this region is going to be very important. But most constituents and even family members, to put it in that perspective, that were without power, were staying home. But it would be more efficient if they were to go to family members outside of the impact zone for a short-term basis, so we can at least work with CenterPoint to get the power restored. But we're trying to assimilate a lot of that information and are in communication with the state and how is the most efficient way to get the resources here. So again, we've got volunteers that are being geared up to help residents get debris off of their property, because you know, most of them that I know, and family and friends that I've talked to, that's their top priorities: getting their yards cleaned up, getting some resemblance of their home life back together. And so that's a top priority for us. But as you can see out there, the traffic is a major issue. So I would caution people to be careful. If you don't need to be in the impact zone, please stay out of that area. Some of the discussions is how do we handle the traffic flow, because a lot of it is down power lines. And we need that areas freed up from traffic so we can get the crews in and work with them overnight.
Mayor, was there an issue with looting last night?
I had a report of a few minor people, but overall we didn't have any issues. But there was a couple that were they were looked into. But obviously we are running 12-hour shifts, and so I don't imagine that'll be a major concern. And if anybody dares to, I'm sure our PD will be happy to give them a ride somewhere. So I know the school district just walked in, and I know yesterday we were in communication with them. We're very grateful that no schools will impact, and from my perspective, I'm assuming, I don't want to put you on the spot, y'all made any decision in regards to school closures tomorrow?
We're still waiting on the reliable power.
Right. Which is the same position we were in from the city. We'll most probably be making decisions somewhere this afternoon in the 4 to 5 range in regards to how far CenterPoint's got in restoring power. So to answer most of the questions, we're in a status quo of just wait until a lot of that gets restored. But I'm really pleased with the efforts of all the agencies here. I'm just tremendously blessed with city staff and the efforts they put forth. I know I live just right around the corner, and from the moment we were impacted about 2:49 yesterday, within 5 minutes, our crews were already in the streets picking up debris, cleaning out the streets, and we're still doing that. So we've got outside trash Companies are coming in already very soon to start hauling that debris out. So I think everything is working about as efficiently and as effective and as it can be to date. Any more questions?
Just have one more question. Can you
Sure.
Talk about the hardest hit area and what was the damage and how are the residents there?
Well, it's funny you put it that way. I would just say it's kind of a path from one corner in the southwest to the north east corner. It was interesting how it just bounced up and down, and facilities from one place right next door to each other is pretty devastated, and the one right next to it, as we know, there's no specific trend. So it really cuts across kind of all the way across the city, and obviously started in Pasadena and ended up in Baytown. So there's just a trail right through, and I've seen some of the maps from the Weather Service about kind of tracked, and it's pretty much the heart of where most of the damage is. So it's not one little specific area, it's just that whole path through there. If that answers your question. Anybody else? So I don't have a particular time, but we will be spitting out more additional information. And again, if any more media requests want to come in, just reach out to me at mayor@deerparktx.gov, and we'll be happy to accommodate you guys. But we will be spitting out more additional information as it becomes available later in the day. Thank you so much.